Hey guys, welcome to this week's recap of The Bachelorette.
You need a shot of penicillin to watch this show.
We're going tomorrow.
Alright, so there is drama with Koopa.
It was all to be continued last week because Koopa was having a freaking meltdown in the driveway.
Do you think his parents were like Nintendo fans?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of cool.
Do you have any bob-ombs?
Okay, so obviously we know that Kaitlyn was like, get out of here. I don't want you here. And he was all like,
And she comes out. What is she gonna do? Kick his A?
well, she was like, you know what? I'm trying to do interviews in there. You're all, get out.
Drunky, go home.
I don't even know if he was drunk. I think he was just like embarrassed and he was like lashing out, but like that's only gonna make it worse. So just
She's upset.
just
she
go.
hates loud talkers.
all right. So he's gone.
He's like, I'm sorry.
He finally left.
I'm leaving.
I don't even like her that much right now anyway.
If I can figure out how to open up this car door.
All right, so it's time for the rose ceremony. First rose goes to Jared.
AKA Rasputin. Second rose goes to Ben H. AKA
Peter Brady. He really does look like a grown-up Peter Brady.
Then Ryan Gosling, Light, got the third rose.
Uh-huh.
And the final rose goes to the old producer pick, Tony.
What? Yeah, it definitely seemed like he was a producer pick at that point because I just don't see it there. But that means that we had to say goodbye to some good guys this week.
Gene Hackman / Ed Norton.
You didn't write down his real name.
No. Does it matter at this point? He's off.
The designer, the fashion designer. I really
Right.
like that guy.
I did like him
He had
too.
a fun sense of humor. He just seemed cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't like him because I thought he was all that.
Yeah.
And Corey, got home
He
to
seemed
your
really
daughter.
sweet. He seemed really sweet.
All right, so they all go to the bunkhouse after they have a little.
All right, the next morning, they are woken up by two sumo wrestlers.
On bicycles. Ding ding, get up.
What's going on here? Is there some sort of connection between sumo wrestling and bikes, or is it just on this show? Because
I think there is.
it came up again later, and I was just like, what?
Well, we find out that the big guy is over 600 pounds, and he is the biggest Japanese guy ever.
What?
Which I find hard to believe.
How do they record that? How
I
can
don't
they
know.
know?
Did they
Excuse
go to
me.
every house,
Ever?
tent, cave, street corner?
Anyway, yeah, so these guys were like world champions and stuff in sumo. They're big deals, and they're here for this.
Well, it's a group date, so they hand out the butt floss to
Oh,
6
no.
guys.
More than, it wasn't just butt floss though, it was like a thong diaper.
It was like a fire hose with the ends cut off.
Well, 6 lucky guys got to wear them.
And Joe's junk was hanging out the entire
Like the whole
time.
time.
The whole time.
Like the whole time. They didn't just have to blur out the back, they were blurring out the front, the side, everything.
Boy, I wish I worked on the show that week. I would have gotten so much overtime in post-production.
For all that censoring.
I know.
It's a lot of work.
The sumos went against the Becklers.
Yeah, everybody was out in the driveway,
Yeah.
even the guys that weren't on the date. They got to watch them get thrown around.
Like rag dolls.
Mm-hmm.
He picked him up and shook him like a rag doll.
Then it was Tony's turn to go up against the sumo wrestler.
And Tony went in there pretty confident.
He was like, you guys don't even know. Like, I'm going to take this guy down.
The sumo guy just laughed at him.
There was
until
a
he
lot of
wore
laughter
himself
there.
Out.
At first, I thought maybe Tony was, like, tickling him. But I don't think so. But
The
then
guy was probably like, this one's really feisty.
Tony lost. And he seemed really pissed.
He went back up to his room.
He tried to make it all, I don't want to fight. Like, why has everything been centering around violence? I'm pretty sure he was pissed because he lost.
Yeah.
After he was talking all that crap.
He was all gung-ho when he
Yeah.
was talking crap. And he was like, why can't we just go to the zoo?
Why can't we go to the zoo and, like, impersonate animals? And
Come on, I see the world through the eyes of a child. I have the heart of a warrior and the spirit of a gypsy.
wow, if Tony is not
The brain
hired
of an imbecile.
next season to plan out these dates, there's something wrong with the world.
Alright, well, JJ got involved.
It was getting a little dramatic
He was
because...
being a jerk as usual. Jerk. That's
well,
what
I'm
JJ
saying,
probably
yeah,
stands
jerk,
for.
jerk. Tony was kind of hijacking the date. Caitlyn had to be like, what's wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then JJ was like, yeah, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. JJ,
Get
freaking
out.
stay out of it. God.
Alright, so Kaitlyn basically tells Tony, look, I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do.
I mean, it's true, though. He could have been like, I don't want to do this, but I will watch. Or, like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm sure she would have been cool with that.
Absolutely not. And
No, of course she would have.
she was like, you know what? If you want to come to the sumo exhibition that we're having,
There's another part to this date.
Yeah. So, of course, he didn't show up on his bicycle.
He had a lot of thinking to do.
Well, he also had a lot of packing to do.
Oh my god.
But first, let's talk about the round robin sumo competition.
All right, they were all facing off against each other. Kaitlyn even got in on the action. She didn't wrestle the guys, though. She was only up against the one sumo guy. He freaking gave her an atomic wedgie when he picked her up by her diaper.
And then he fell over and said, you win.
That guy.
Well, Tony was packing 3 huge-ass duffel bags.
Oh my god, what did you bring?
I thought, wow, this is one really big suitcase. And
Yeah,
then
I thought
it said
it was
3 of 3 on there.
What? What was in there?
Usually when they show up to get the ceremonial suitcase after you
I'm
don't
sure
get the
that's
rose,
for show.
it's like this big.
I'm sure that's for show.
All right.
It's like on Big Brother when they carry out one bag.
Yeah, okay. All right, so Clint beat everyone of the guys. He was a wrestler in college
He
and
was
a
being a
douchebag.
jerk about it. He was like slamming people down.
Yeah,
Like that
it wasn't
really was not
cool.
necessary. You could have broken someone's back or something. But, yeah.
So Tony, it looked like he wrote like a little note or something.
I think he left a note.
And he went and he showed up at the date.
He was like, Kaitlyn, I gotta get out of here. If you wanna get to know the real me, I'm easy to find.
All right.
But
well,
you've got the spirit of a gypsy. That sounds pretty difficult to find. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Clint, he had the first one-on-one date, so he's like, you know what? She knows where to find me if she wants to hang out with me, so I'm gonna be like a cool kid, and I'm not gonna like seek her out or give her any attention
I
or
don't think
anything.
that's a good idea. And even JJ is just like, dude, don't do that, brah. Don't do it.
All right, so the date rose goes to Sean, aka Ryan Gosling.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, and way too good for her. Kaitlyn calls out Clint in front of everyone.
She's like, what's the deal? Like, you didn't talk to me at all? You ignored me all day? Like, I thought we had a good thing going? What's going on
Pretty
here?
lazy, douchebag.
That's pretty crazy that she called him out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
All right, well, that aside,
It's time for the next date.
Chris planned the date, and he sent out his
Chris
own date
Harrison.
cards.
He said, be ready for anything.
Chris Harrison. All right, so the date card goes to Ben Z, and they show up at this warehouse.
Yeah, they didn't know. They had no idea where they were going. Kaitlyn didn't even know that it was going to be Ben until she got to the house.
Yeah, it was kind of in a sketch neighborhood, too, so she was like, what's going on over here?
All right.
So they find out it's the basement. It's like a escape thing.
You got to use your mind powers to solve these clues and figure out this code to get out of the basement.
It's like
It looked kind of scary.
a haunted basement of horrors, like Saw / Dark.
Yeah, dark. All right, so the first frightening thing in this basement, birds.
She
What?
is afraid of birds.
So of course they were going to ship some birds in.
It wasn't actually part of the actual basement thing. They put in birds and bugs. How cheap, you know?
Well, you know, they're all about the you got to face your fears and then you'll bond with that person, blah, blah, blah thing.
Well, they also had some snakes in a toilet. But that was actually part of the show.
I think that one snake that was like in the toilet was fake
It
because
looked like it had flower markings
it wasn't
on it.
moving. The markings were really weird and it wasn't moving and it was just like chilling in that dirty toilet.
Well, you know what was
Toilet
real?
snake.
The freaking scorpion in the drawer.
I mean, there were, don't get me wrong, there were real snakes in that bathroom, but I
Yeah.
think the toilet one was fake.
That was toilet snake.
I would have peed it my pants. I wouldn't have made it to the toilet.
Well, it was really quite lame. There was some guy in the bed, like,
I think it was pretty
rolling
scary.
around. I don't know.
I thought it was scary.
I would have laughed my ass off.
Well, you're just so great.
I know, right? So they made it. Yeah. what would have happened if they
made it just as the gas was being released.
How fake was that? All right, so what kind of gas was that? I'd like to know.
I don't know. But then they went back to her house for some pizza, bonding time.
He tells her that his mom died, and while he was walking,
it was a very
the dog,
emotional story.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It was sad.
Why would the mom tell him to go walk the dog and then?
Because she didn't want him to have to like see that. Like she knew it was the end. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want closure?
Well, he was like 14 years old. That's a lot to take in.
I suppose, but it really affected him because he didn't cry.
He felt like he had to be strong for his dad and his brother.
And he didn't cry for 11 years after that, which is like up to present day.
Present
day.
That's pretty crazy.
So that earned him a spot in the hot tub.
No. He got the rose too.
Yeah.
He seems like a really nice guy.
He does.
I wasn't sure about him in the boxing episode because I was like, oh, he thinks he's so great. But like, he seems nice.
All right. Too nice for her. Group date time. Let's learn to love, aka make love.
No, Nick is next week. Okay, so they have to teach these little kids sex ed.
How California was at school with the lockers
Outdoor
lockers,
outside. Of course.
So one of the guys had to explain
Mr. Welder.
tampons or tampons.
He's like, oh, I got tampons. What? I guess the cows don't use those, so
No.
he doesn't know. I'm not being a jerk. He said it himself.
He said he learned everything he knew about sex from watching the cows.
Oh, man. All right, so they walk into the classroom. These kids are pretty darn young.
They're really young, and I'm thinking, like, how the hell did they get the parents to sign
Yeah,
up
I was
on
like, this seems a little fishy. But anyway, back at the house, Clint and JJ are all alone.
They're all alone.
They're having some fun. It's
They
a real
are
bromance.
ensconced in a bromance.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think these two have a very close douche friendship, but I think the whole Brokeback Bachelor thing was for show, and it's kind of annoying.
It is. We're not
Kind of annoying.
I mean, I know this is reality TV, like non-reality TV, but come on.
Don't
Really?
mess with us!
Don't make light of the bromance. All right, so
Back on the date.
this is a vagina.
How come they could say vagina, but they couldn't say penis?
And how come they could say, like, sperm... They couldn't say, like, ejaculate or whatever.
I don't know. It was kind of weird, the words that they were blurring or whatever, or bleeping, and the words that they weren't bleeping. But then the kids start asking these crazy-ass questions, and I'm just like, whoa! What's going on here?
What's a wet dream? Then Kaitlyn's like, these are child overactors.
Yeah, some of those kids, come on. All right, but the guys didn't know
the way
that.
they were dressed, too.
The guys did not know that.
No, they were probably like, where'd you get these kids from?
So Ben H's assignment was to teach the kids about reproduction. So he like made up this whole story, and he brought Kaitlyn into
I'm the
it.
sperm and she's the egg. I shoot through the classroom and I'm the lucky one.
All right, so they do that. I don't know if Kaitlyn even told them that the kids were actors.
I'm
They
sure.
didn't. I'm surprised they didn't show that reveal on the show.
Well,
I feel like we wanted that reaction shot, you know?
she really liked that.
Yeah, she was really digging Ben H.
That she was included.
Even one of the kids in the classroom was like,
She loves when that sperm rushes towards her. All right.
all right, time for the after party.
Ben H. took her up to the roof for some one-on-one time, dipped her, made out with her.
She loved it.
She freaking loves that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what does she do? She brings Jared, a.k.a. Rasputin, back to her room.
Rasputin?
I thought she was totally going to do it with him. Because she
That's
was
a little
really
crazy.
She was really digging it. But
Yeah.
you know what? When they got back to the other corral, she ends up giving the rose to Ben H.
I think she really liked how he worked with the kids on the date earlier, and then he
Well-
went for it on the roof. Just saying.
Rasputin was really disappointed. He was just
bummed.
like,
All right,
really?
it's time for the cocktail party.
Guess he should have put out.
Clint immediately pulls Kaitlyn aside. He's like, I need to talk to you. Blah.
All right, girl. My balls retracted from the butt floss, and I lost my mind. I'm sorry. I want to stay.
This was so lame, and I'm sure that JJ fed these lines to him because he was like, you need to stay. Like, all this episode, Clint was saying that he's not into Kaitlyn, he knows that she's not the one for him, but he wants to stay because he wants to hang out with freaking JJ.
Wake up, Kaitlyn. He's just using you to get to JJ.
Yeah, and then stupid Clint and JJ are like, Vill's got a Vill. That's crap!
Hey, if the eye patch fits, wear it. All right,
so then the guys were like, no, we can't deal with these two. So they start telling Kaitlyn, Clint and JJ suck, so they should go home.
Everyone was saying that. She's like, oh, you're not the first ones I've heard that from. So Kaitlyn pulls Clint aside, and the drama continues next week.
But that's not the only drama we're gonna see. Of course not.
Our old friend, the villain from The Incredibles, shows up.
Nick!
Why would you make love to me if you don't love me?
It's gonna be crazy.
All right, so the extra little snippet at the end was Joe's floss cannot contain his ball bag.
He needs a little sunscreen on.
He needs a sky cap for his ball baggage.
All right, I'm out of here.
To let us know what you think in the comments, and until next time, much love.
Edit.